There is a power within you that you have likely misunderstood, a force you may have misused, and a gift that, when redirected, has the potential to transform your entire life. I'm talking about the energy of sex, and more specifically sexual transmutation, a principle introduced by one of the greatest minds in the history of personal development, Napoleon Hill. When Napoleon Hill wrote Think and Grow Rich, he wasn't simply creating a book about money. He was documenting the psychological model of the world's most successful men, 500 of them over the age of 25, years including industrial titans, inventors, presidents and artists. Among all the principles he taught: desire, faith, autosuggestion, a specialized knowledge, there was one principle that stopped many readers in their tracks: the mystery of sexual transmutation. Hill called sex the most powerful of human desires, and he was right. No other force can drive a man to conquer, create, pursue, or destroy like the energy of sexual desire. But here is what he discovered: those who master this energy and redirect it, those who transmute it, access a level of genius and the unattainable ambition for the undisciplined man. What is sexual transmutation? Let's break it down. Transmutation means transforming the form or nature of something. In this case, sexual energy. Hill describes it as the process of channeling sexual energy away from physical expression and toward the creation of wealth, art, innovation, genius, and legacy. He wrote, "Sexual desire is not only physical, but also emotional, spiritual, and mental. When harnessed, it can be transmuted into a powerful force capable of elevating one to great heights of achievement." Hill didn't say to repress your sexuality. He didn't say to run from it. He said to redirect it, to harness it, and use it as fuel for your mission. The biology and psychology behind this. Now, why is this so powerful? Because sexual energy is creative energy at its most primal level. It is literally the power to create life. When that power isn't used for physical reproduction, it doesn't go away. It remains in your body, in your mind, in your nervous system. And if you do nothing with it, it turns into frustration. But if you focus on it, it becomes rocket fuel for achievement. Modern science also backs this up. High testosterone levels, when not expended, increase drive, aggression, focus, and willpower. You become more alert, hungrier, more intense. But here's the key: it only works if you redirect the energy toward something greater than yourself. Otherwise, you remain trapped in lust and indulgence. Hill's observations on great men in Think and Grow Rich. Hill says something profound. Men of greater achievements are men with highly developed sexual natures, men who have learned the art of transmuting their sexual energy into creative and productive outlets. Name examples: Napoleon Bonaparte, who channeled his passion toward war and empire building; George Washington, who was known for his intense discipline and loyalty; Thomas Edison, whose tireless process of invention Hill attributed to sublimated sexual energy; Abraham Lincoln, who Hill said had an intense sexual nature, but directed his fire toward vision, justice, and purpose. In every case, these men didn't lack sexual desire. They simply refused to let it dominate them. The danger of undirected sexual energy. Let's not mince words about the truth. Most men today are dominated by lust. Pornography addiction is rampant. Instant gratification is normalized. Discipline is mocked. And we wonder why men feel depressed, unfocused, and unsatisfied. Napoleon Hill warned us, most men never learn to control their sexual urges. When driven by this desire, they lose control of reason and act on impulse. He wasn't condemning sex. He was elevating it. He was saying, if you let this get out of control, it will burn your life out. But if you train it, tame it, transmute it, it will become the engine of your destiny. Transmutation in action. How to apply it today. So how do we actually practice sexual transmutation in modern life? Let me give you a framework. Semen retention, build the pressure. This doesn't mean permanent abstinence. It means you stop casually wasting your energy. Every time you release without purpose, you lower your vitality, your focus, your testosterone, your drive. Try 30 days porn-free. Try 30 days of intentional discipline. Notice how your mind sharpens, how your body feels more alive, how your hunger increases that pressure inside you. That's your fuel. Redirect the energy. When desire surges, don't suppress it. Redirect it. Use that surge to work harder in your business. Train harder in the gym. Study, build, create, plan, speak boldly, walk with confidence. Lead with vision instead of temptation. Napoleon Hill said, "A young man who has developed the art of transmuting sexual energy will find that this energy, it becomes the fuel for all your accomplishments. Choose a higher purpose. Sexual energy needs a container. If it doesn't have a mission, it becomes indulgence. You must give it direction. Ask yourself daily, what am I building that's bigger than my next release? If your answer is vague, you'll stay stuck in the cycle of temporary pleasure and permanent regret. But if you're building something, a business, a brand, a legacy, then every ounce of discipline becomes sacred. Napoleon Hill's final warning and promise. Near the end of the chapter, Hill writes, "Sexual energy is the creative energy of all geniuses. There never has been and never will be a great leader, builder or thinker without sexual energy. It is not optional if you want to become great. It is mandatory. But here is the choice. You can indulge your desires and stay where you are, or you can transmute your energy and become something the world has never seen. The disciplined man will always outlive the distracted. Master the fire." To every man who listens, you are not weak because you feel desire. You are not ashamed because you crave intimacy. You are powerful because you carry the most sacred force in the universe. But power without direction is destruction. Sexual transmutation is not just a tactic, it's a philosophy, a lifestyle, a sacred choice to use the energy God gave you to build, not waste to lead, not to covet, to focus, not to fall, to create a legacy, not just to release tension. Napoleon Hill gave us the plan. The rest is up to us, so now I ask you, will you master the fire or will it master you? The choice is yours. There is a hidden force within you, a drive so ancient, so raw, that it once dictated the very survival of our species. And yet this same force, when redirected, can create art, fuel ambition, build empires, and shape the course of human history. Sigmund Freud, the father of psychoanalysis, gave this transformation a name. He called it sublimation. And tonight we're going to take a deeper look at what it is, how it works, and how you can use it to transform your own life. Understanding sublimation, Freud's psychological alchemy. Let's start at the root. In Freud's psychoanalytic theory, the human behavior is driven by unconscious desires, primarily the libido or sex drive. This isn't limited to physical intimacy. Freud believed that the libido represented life energy, a fundamental force behind our motivations, behaviors, and emotional patterns. But here's the catch. Society doesn't allow us to express this energy in its most roaring form. If every human being acted on every impulse, lust, aggression, or domination, we would collapse into chaos. So what happens to all that repressed desire? Does it disappear? Freud said no. Instead, it's redirected. It is channeled into socially acceptable and often highly productive outlets. This process is what Freud called sublimation, the transformation of base instinctual energy into higher, refined activities such as art, science, leadership, innovation, and spirituality. In simple terms, sublimation is the conversion of desire into discipline, lust into legacy, drive into impact. Sublimation versus suppression. The key distinction. This is where many get it wrong. Sublimation is not suppression. Suppression pushes desire down and hides it. Pretend it doesn't exist. But like a shaken soda bottle, pent-up energy creates pressure and often explodes in unhealthy ways. Addiction and rage collapse. Sublimation, on the other hand, is a conscious redirection. It acknowledges the existence of desire, but guides it into a form that uplifts the individual and society. Let me give you an example. A man with aggressive instincts may become a soldier, boxer, or firefighter. A woman with intense erotic energy may become a dancer, fashion designer, or actress. A person obsessed with control may become a CEO or a systems engineer. A teenager consumed by lust may begin to paint, write poetry, compose music, or build a business by transmuting what Freud called the sexual instinct into creative mastery. Sublimation is not about moralizing. It is not about shame. It is about using your inner chaos as a ladder to greatness. The role of the libido in human achievement. Freud believed that sublimation was the foundation of civilization itself. He wrote in Civilization and its discontents that without sublimation, culture could not exist. There would be no symphonies, no cities, no literature, no science, because everything is built on the same basic mechanism, converting primitive energy into higher expression. Think of the great artists, inventors, and philosophers. Michelangelo, who spent 4 years painting the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel, channeling his intensity into sacred art. Nikola Tesla, who was celibate for most of his life, pouring his energy into his inventions. Ludwig van Beethoven, deaf in isolation, but composing masterpieces of the raw emotional power of Freud himself, whose tireless investigation of the human mind forever changed the way we understand ourselves. These were not men without passion. They were men who transcended passion by mastering it. Sublimation in the modern world, why it matters now more than ever. In today's culture of hyperindulgence, we're told that if you feel it, act on it, follow your impulses, do what feels good. And yet more people than ever are anxious, depressed, and unfulfilled. Why? Because a life of unbridled desire leads to emptiness, but a life of sublimated desire that leads to meaning. Freud warned that when societies remove the pressure to sublimate, they regress, creativity declines, discipline evaporates, genius dies. Look around you. We're drowning in dopamine endlessly. Scrolling, binge-eating, distractions, validation. Addicts numbing our primal energy instead of forging it into power. If Freud were alive today, maybe he wouldn't be surprised he predicted it, but he'd also remind us that the goal of life isn't to kill desire. It's to elevate it. How to practice sublimation in your daily life. Let's make this practical. Here are 5 ways to start sublimating your energy right now. Recognize the urge. Don't repress your urges. Observe them. Become aware of when you feel aggressive, lustful, obsessive. Don't act, just observe. Awareness is the first step. Create a higher outlet. Give that energy a home. Start writing. Start building something. Train harder at the gym. Pick up an instrument. Launch your idea. Commit to mastering a skill. Have your mind say, when I feel that desire, I go here. Delay. Freud believed that sublimation was only possible if a person could delay gratification. Train your ability to wait, to sit with the sensation of not scratching every itch. This builds psychological muscle and with it depth. Create channeling rituals. Have a morning routine that channels energy into creation. This could be a powerful time to journal, read and reflect, study a difficult subject, work on your business before checking your phone. Each ritual becomes a valve through which you redirect your upward energy. Elevate your environment, surround yourself with symbols, art, music, and people that remind you of your higher nature. Sublimation is harder in environments that normalize indulgence, but when you live in a culture of elevation, you rise with it. The alchemy of the mind. To sublimate is to take something instinctual and transform it into something immortal. It is the essence of art. The secret behind discipline, the foundation of leadership, the root of genius. Sigmund Freud gave us many controversial ideas, but this one was a gift, because it means that no matter how dark, primal, or chaotic your inner world is, you have the ability to shape it, sculpt it, use it. And like a blacksmith who turns heat into steel, you can turn your desire into destiny, your weakness into will, your craving into creation. That's the power of sublimation. Use it well. So remember, we're in Deceta.